The Kang Empire's shadow stretched across the stars like a dark blanket. For decades, their warships had brought terror to countless worlds. Their leader, Commander Dae Ho, was known for his cruelty. No planet dared to stand against him. The smaller worlds paid heavy taxes just to survive. Those who fought back were destroyed. Earth watched all of this from far away. Humans had built special satellites that could see what happened in space, without being noticed. These satellites recorded everything: the attacks, the conquered planets, and the people who suffered. Jiwoo sat at her desk in the Earth Defense Center, watching the newest recordings. Her eyes were tired from hours of studying the Kang's movements. A small cup of cold tea sat forgotten beside her computer. "Another attack," she said softly to herself. The screen showed 3 Kang ships surrounding a small green planet. "That's the 5th one this month." Behind her, Han-gil entered the room. He was the head of Earth's military forces, though they had never been used beyond their own solar system. "Any changes in their pattern?" he asked, standing beside Jiwoo's chair. "No. Same as always. They target the smaller planets first, then move to the larger ones once they've built up their forces." Jiwoo pointed to a chart on another screen. "They're moving faster now. 10 years ago, they took twice as long to conquer this many worlds." Han-gil nodded. "The Council wants to know if it's time." Jiwoo turned in her chair. "Time to reveal ourselves? After all these years? Some think we've waited too long already." Earth had developed technology unlike anything else in the galaxy. While other worlds focused on weapons that could destroy, planet's humans had created tools that could stop weapons from working at all. They had ships that could move without being seen, and systems that could talk across the galaxy in seconds. All of this had been kept secret. For nearly 100 years, Earth had simply watched and learned. A red light began flashing on Jiwoo's control panel. "We have a visitor," she said, surprised. The screen showed a small ship approaching Earth. It wasn't a Kang design. This ship was sleeker, with blue markings along its sides. "Alliance markings," Han-gil said. "How did they find—" "Oh, the Galactic Alliance was a group of planets trying to fight against the Kang Empire. They were brave but losing badly. Until now, they had never shown any sign that they knew Earth existed." "They're sending a message," Jiwoo said, pressing a button to hear it. A tired voice filled the room. "People of Earth, we seek your help. We know you have stayed hidden, but the galaxy cannot survive much longer under Kang rule. Please respond." Jiwoo looked at Han-gil. "What should we do?" "Let them land," he decided after a moment. "The Council will want to hear what they have to say." 3 hours later, Jiwoo stood in a large meeting room. The Alliance visitor, a woman named Sunmi, looked around with wide eyes. "You've been watching all along?" Sunmi asked, looking at the screen showing distant planets. "Yes," Jiwoo replied. "We needed to understand the enemy before we faced them." "And you've never helped anyone? Never stepped in when worlds were destroyed?" Han-gil stepped forward. "We weren't ready. If we had revealed ourselves too soon, Earth would have fallen like all the others." Sunmi's face showed anger, then understanding. "So you're ready now?" "Maybe." Jiwoo touched a screen and a map of the galaxy appeared. "The Kang Empire has grown too powerful. They've taken 73 planets in the last year alone. They've started building something at the edge of the Taru system. Something big." "New weapon," Sunmi said. "That's why I came. Our spies say it can destroy entire star systems. They plan to test it in 2 months." The room grew quiet. Jiwoo looked at Han-gil, and something passed between them. A decision made in silence. "Tell your leaders," Jiwoo said finally, "that after all these years of watching, Earth is ready to speak." Sunmi walked through the underground facility beneath Earth's surface, her eyes wide with wonder. The corridors stretched for miles, filled with technology unlike anything the Alliance had ever seen. General Park Han-gil led the way, his steps confident as he showed their visitor what humanity had been building in secret. "All this time we thought you were just farmers and artists," Sunmi said quietly. "The Kang Empire doesn't even list Earth as a threat." Han-gil smiled slightly. "That was our plan." We wanted them to ignore us while we prepared. They entered a large room where dozens of people worked at control stations. In the center stood a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with red dots, showing Kang Empire territories. Nearly half the map glowed red. "This is our command center," Hangil explained. "We track every Kang ship, every battle, every conquest." A woman approached them. She was tall with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. "I'm military strategist Choi Yun-ha," she said, nodding to Sunmi. "For 50 years I've studied how the Kang fight." Sunmi looked confused. 50 years? But the Kang only became a major power 30 years ago. "We saw the signs early," Yun-ha replied. "Their first conquests followed patterns that suggested bigger plans." Yun-ha touched the map and it zoomed in on a cluster of stars. "The Kang always attack the same way. They use overwhelming force. They don't care about losses. They just keep sending ships until they win." "We know," Sunmi said bitterly. "That's why we're losing. They have more ships than we do." Hangil and Yun-ha exchanged looks. "But what if you didn't need to match their numbers?" Hangil asked. "What if there was another way to fight?" He led them to another room where Captain Song Minho waited beside what looked like a normal shuttle. It was small, built for maybe 5 people, with no visible weapons. "This doesn't look very impressive," Sunmi said, unable to hide her disappointment. Minho laughed. "That's the point. The Kang wouldn't look twice at it." He pressed a button on his wrist and suddenly the shuttle vanished. It wasn't covered or hidden. It simply disappeared. Sunmi gasped. "How?" "We don't rely on traditional cloaking," Minho explained. "This ship bends light and other detection waves around it. It's completely invisible to all known scanning methods." "But weapons?" Sunmi asked. "How can a ship this small fight?" Minho smiled again and pressed another button. A panel opened in the ship's side, revealing a small silver device. "We don't fight the way the Kang expect. This device sends out waves that disable their weapon systems. No destruction, no explosions. Their ships simply stop working." Sunmi stared in disbelief. "If you have this technology, why haven't you helped us? Do you know how many worlds have fallen while you hid here?" Hangil's face grew serious. "We needed to be certain. One mistake and Earth would be just another conquered planet. We had to perfect our technology first." They moved to a large viewing window overlooking an enormous underground hangar. Hundreds of ships like the one Minho had shown them sat in neat rows, ready for launch. "This is just one base," Hangil said quietly. "We have 5 more like it around the planet." Sunmi's eyes filled with tears. "You could have saved so many. And now we will," a new voice said. They turned to see Director Kim Ji-woo entering the room. "The Council has made its decision. Earth will join your alliance, but we'll do it our way." Ji-woo handed Sunmi a small device. "This contains the coordinates of your 3 main bases. In 2 days, representatives from Earth will arrive at each one. We'll show your leaders what we can do." Sunmi held the device carefully. "The Kang Empire thinks they know everything about warfare. They've never faced humans before." "No," Ji-woo agreed, looking out at the fleet of ships. "They haven't, and that's why they'll fall." As Sunmi prepared to return to her people, she looked back at the humans who had kept their power hidden for so long. "You could have built weapons to destroy worlds, like the Kang did." Hangil shook his head. "That's not our way. Humans don't seek to terrify the galaxy. We want to free it." The refugee planet Nuva hung in space like a small green jewel. Once home to millions, now only a few thousand remained, huddled in makeshift shelters. Most had fled from Kang attacks on their home worlds. They thought they would be safe on this remote planet. They were wrong. 3 massive Kang warships appeared in orbit. Their dark shapes blocked the sunlight, casting long shadows across Nuva's surface. The refugees looked up in terror. They had no weapons, no defenses. On the lead Kang ship, Commander Taesung watched the planet's surface through a large viewing screen. He had destroyed many worlds before. This one would be no different. Begin the landing sequence, he ordered. Take any resources we can use. Kill anyone who resists. His officers nodded, ready to carry out his commands. But before they could act, a warning light flashed on the control panel. "Sir, we're detecting something strange," said a young officer. "There's a small disturbance in space about 10,000 miles from our position." Taesung frowned. "Show me." The screen changed to show empty space, but as they watched, the emptiness rippled like water. Then suddenly, ships appeared. Human ships. They seemed to form out of nothing, their sleek designs unlike anything the Kang had seen before. "How many?" Taesung demanded. "Just 5, sir," the officer replied, confused. 5 small vessels. Taesung laughed. 5 ships against our 3 warships? They must be fools. He turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy them." The Kang ships fired their main weapons. Bright red beams of energy shot toward the human ships. But something strange happened. The beams bent around the human vessels, missing them completely. "Fire again," Taesung shouted. They fired again. Again, the beams curved away from their targets. On the lead human ship, Commander Kim Tae-ho watched, calmly. Beside him stood diplomat Oh Yoon-ji, her face showing no fear. "They're trying to understand what's happening," Tae-ho said. "Should we show them?" Yoon-ji nodded. "It's time." Tae-ho pressed a button on his control panel. From each human ship, a small pod launched toward the Kang vessels. The pods attached themselves to the hulls of the enemy ships. Inside the Kang warship, the lights flickered. Weapon systems shut down. Engines stopped working. The mighty warship floated helplessly in space. "What's happening?" Taesung shouted. "Get our systems back online." "We can't, sir," his officer replied. "Nothing is responding." A voice came through their communication system. It was clear and calm, speaking the Kang language perfectly. "This is Oh Yoon-ji of Earth. Your ships are now under our control. Your weapons will not work again. Your engines will not start unless we allow it." Taesung's face turned red with anger. "Who are you to challenge the Kang Empire? We have conquered half the galaxy." "Yes," Yoon-ji replied. "We know exactly what you have done. We have watched every planet you destroyed, every people you enslaved. Humanity has remained silent until now. That silence ends today." The viewing screen changed to show Yoon-ji. She stood straight, her dark eyes looking directly at Taesung. "You are used to fighting enemies who use the same weapons and tactics as you do," she said. "Humanity does not. We do not seek to destroy. We seek to disable. To stop. To change." Taesung struggled to understand. "You could have destroyed us. Why didn't you?" "Because that is your way, not ours," Yoon-ji answered. "Return to your empire. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that Earth has finally spoken. Tell them that the galaxy will no longer live in fear of the Kang." The communication ended. Slowly, the Kang ship's engines came back to life, but their weapons remained dead. With no choice, they turned and left Nuva's orbit. On the planet below, the refugees watched in amazement as their attackers retreated. When the human ships landed, the people cheered. They had heard stories about Earth, but many had thought humans were just a myth. Now they knew better. The silent observers had finally revealed themselves, and the galaxy would never be the same. The news of what happened at Nuva spread quickly through the galaxy. The Kang Empire had retreated from a small planet because of 5 human ships. Many refused to believe it. The Kang had never lost before. In his palace on the Kang homeworld, Supreme Commander Dae-ho smashed a glass against the wall. 5 ships, he shouted. 5 tiny ships made our warships useless." His generals stood silently, afraid to speak. Finally, one stepped forward. "We've analyzed what happened, sir. The humans used some kind of wave that shut down our systems. We're already working on shields to block it." Dae-ho nodded. "Good. And send our biggest fleet to their next target. I want these humans crushed before they can interfere again." But the humans were already moving. Instead of large battles, they fought in a way the Kang had never seen before. Small teams led by Colonel Bei Jun-ho slipped onto Kang worlds. They didn't attack with weapons. They attacked with information. On the planet Marak, Jun-ho and 4 others walked through a crowded market. They looked like ordinary Marak people thanks to simple disguises. No one paid attention to them. Jun-ho stopped at a public view screen, where Kang propaganda played constantly. He attached a small device to its base. Within seconds, the screen changed. Instead of Kang messages, it showed the truth. Videos of Kang ships attacking peaceful worlds, of people being forced to work in mines, of children separated from parents. All across the city, every screen showed the same images. People stopped and stared. Some began to cry. Others looked angry. "It's working," Jun-ho said quietly to his team. "Let's move to the next phase." While this happened, Science Director Kwon Do-yeon met with Alliance leaders. She showed them new technology that Earth had developed. "These shields don't just block attacks," she explained, showing them a small device. "They learn from each attack and get stronger." An Alliance general looked skeptical. "The Kang will just build bigger weapons." Do-yeon smiled. "That's what they always do. But what if you don't need to match their firepower? What if you can make their weapons useless instead?" She demonstrated how the shields worked, how they could protect even small ships from the biggest Kang weapons. The Alliance leaders watched in amazement. "There's more," Do-yeon said. "We've developed a way to communicate that the Kang cannot detect or block. Your ships can coordinate attacks without the enemy knowing." Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Humans didn't try to fight the Kang directly. Instead, they changed the rules of the fight. They showed oppressed people the truth. They gave Alliance ships new defenses. They disrupted Kang supply lines, without firing a shot. Information specialist Ryu Ha-jun led the most important mission. He entered the main communication center on a Kang-controlled world. With a few keystrokes, he gained access to the galaxy-wide network. "I'm in," he said, to his team. "Beginning transmission now." Every communication device in Kang territory received the same message. A detailed record of Kang crimes, followed by evidence that many Kang leaders were keeping the best resources for themselves while their own people suffered. The effect was immediate. On dozens of worlds, people rose up against their Kang rulers. Even some Kang soldiers joined them, angry at learning how their leaders had lied. When Alliance Commander Na Seok-jin met with Earth representatives to discuss their progress, he couldn't hide his surprise. "In 3 months, you've done more damage to the Kang Empire than we did in 10 years, he said. "How is this possible?" "We studied them," explained Jun-ho. "The Kang only understand power through destruction. They were not prepared for humans." "Humans don't just fight differently," Seok-jin realized. "You change the very nature of warfare." "Yes," Jun-ho agreed. "And now the Kang are learning what happens when they face an enemy they don't understand." Supreme Commander Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his largest warship. Around him, thousands of Kang vessels gathered. It was the biggest fleet ever assembled in the history of the galaxy. Every ship was armed with the newest weapons. Every soldier had been told that today they would crush the humans once and for all. "Status report," Dae-ho demanded. "All ships." "Ready, sir," his officer replied. "We'll reach Earth in 10 minutes. Dae-ho smiled coldly. He had lost many battles in recent months. The humans and their Alliance friends had taken back 27 planets. His own people were beginning to question his leadership. But today would change everything. Today he would destroy Earth itself. "The humans think they're clever," he told his officers. "They use tricks instead of real power. But no trick can stop this fleet." The Kang ships moved closer to Earth. Dae-ho expected to see panic, to see the humans scrambling to defend themselves. Instead, Earth seemed calm. There were no visible defenses, no fleet of ships rising to meet them. "They're hiding," Dae-ho decided. "Prepare all weapons. Target their major cities first." The Kang ships aimed their weapons at Earth. But before they could fire, something strange happened. Small objects appeared all around the fleet. They weren't ships. They were too small, barely the size of shuttles. There were thousands of them, creating a net around the Kang fleet. "What are those?" Dae-ho asked, suddenly worried. Before anyone could answer, the objects activated. A soft blue light connected them, forming a complete sphere around the Kang fleet. Inside this sphere, every Kang ship suddenly stopped moving. Engines died. Weapon systems shut down. Even the artificial gravity failed, leaving Daeho floating above his command chair. "Get us back online," he shouted. "We can't, sir," his officer said, panic in his voice. "Nothing works, not even our backup systems." On Earth, Chief Engineer Yunmi Ray stood in the control room of the planetary defense grid. For 20 years, she had worked on this system. Now it was finally being used. "The net is complete," she reported. "All Kang ships are contained." President Jang Hee-jin nodded. "Open a channel to their command ship." On the Kang flagship, a hologram appeared before the floating Dai-Ho. It showed a woman with calm eyes and a serious expression. "I am President Jang Hee-jin of Earth," she said. "Your fleet is now immobilized. You cannot attack. You cannot escape." Daeho's face twisted with anger. "Then destroy us. Finish it." "No," Hee-jin replied simply. "That is not our way." Her image was replaced by a recording. It showed the many worlds the Kang had destroyed, the people they had hurt. It showed their crimes in detail. This same recording was being sent to every planet in the galaxy, including those still under Kang control. "We could destroy you as you have destroyed others," Hee-jin's voice said over the images. "Instead, we offer something different." The recording ended, and Hee-jin's face returned. "Your soldiers will be returned to their homes. Your leaders will face justice for their actions. But your people will not be punished for the crimes of their rulers." Daeho couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Why would you show mercy?" "We wouldn't." "That's why you lost," Hee-jin answered. "You never understood that true strength lies not in how much you can destroy, but in how much you can protect." In the weeks that followed, representatives from every world gathered on Earth. They formed the Galactic Council, with humans guiding the way. The Kang people, freed from their corrupt leaders, joined too. President Hee-jin addressed the first meeting of this new council. "The universe need not be governed by terror," she said. "Humanity speaks not just with words, but with a vision for a better galaxy. We offer not just peace, but justice, not just survival, but growth. The time of fear is over." And across the stars, people who had lived in terror for so long finally began to hope again.